Okay, so we're back here. So I went in to the store, got some stuff here, and I got my internet equipment changed out. So I gave some Spectrum some shit because they were not really being friendly to us. But we get the new equipment, we put it together, I test the internet speed, which I'm going to do again real quick, and it actually turns out that it's working properly. The old equipment was being throttled down, which I'm not surprised. What I suspect they were doing is were throttling the internet connection down to encourage us to get their new stuff. So we're getting 70 now, even though we're supposed to be getting 50, we're getting more than we're supposed to be getting. And then we're getting somewhere close to 10 upload. I think the last time I measured it was 6. So let this run real quick, and yeah, about 70 download speed, which is really good. And we're going to probably do 5 upload, which is not bad considering the fact the last time I measured I was getting 1 upload. So this means I can start to upload videos again while my brother's playing his games, and he shouldn't be complaining because then we'll have more than enough bandwidth. The new router actually looks pretty good. It's a UB. I don't have a webcam to show you guys what it looks like, but it turns out pretty good. Of course, this is Spectrum now, even though don't let them lie to you, they're basically Time Warner Cable. They just took over Time Warner Cable's buildings and personnel, and that's literally it. But all that aside, let's get back to work here. So the last time we did, we really quickly made some kind of a little array thing with a callback so we could get our list and stuff. We didn't finish testing it. We got it kind of working, but we didn't finish up everything for it. We're going to finish that up this episode and do a few other things. So now what do I got here? I got some event logs going on with errors. Oh, recursion detected. Insertion error. Okay, those are ignorable. Is there a way I can clear this log? Clear all. There we go. Now I can get rid of that so I don't see those logs down there. Although I'm still getting some detection of error. Recursion detection. Okay, clear all repairs. Okay, there we go. So that's where we had a recursive class loop going on, which there was a miracle we even made happen in the first place. But yeah. Got myself some Monster too. I'm kind of sad Walmart stopped selling the big cans. And I love the big cans. The big cans have better flavor than the small cans, but the small cans work. I get my energy boost in B vitamin overdrive. I don't recommend anybody drinks energy drinks, by the way, but I'm hooked to them. So unfortunately, I gotta break that habit eventually one of these days. But one of those days will be maybe 5 years down the road. Because then when I get later in my age, then I need to kick it, or I'll probably kill my heart. But yeah, probably can go ahead and close this. I don't think we're gonna make any more bars. Might do a few more things. I might make some of my own here because I need to go through and make a whole bunch of different bars, different renders. I need to do a whole bunch of ammunition bars so that way you can see your ammo on screen. So when you got your weapon held, you'll see shotgun shells or something on one of the lower slides. That way you know how much ammo you have loaded. Tip though, when I go to do ammo and stuff, or I go to do the difficulty modes for the weapons, if you're on hard difficulty mode, ammo bars won't show up unless you enable them by override the settings. Because how the difficulty settings are going to supposed to work is easy is basically Call of Duty style weapons. So everything is given to you. Medium is going to be kind of closer to Battlefield and Arma, and then hard is going to be realistic. Anyways, so open this up. We got our little sliders here. Our buttons work. We can go up and down. Our mouse movement is not working, so that's something we have to fix. But we can scroll up and down. And we are getting our button here, even though our buttons are not disabling. So, our button is disabling. It's just not disabling until we get to, we reset the GUI. So we need to check to see if the button's disabled every time we click it. So that means I need GUI right now. I can close these two. Okay. So that'd be action performed. Okay, and then what we need to do is go button.enabled or set. Oh, shoot, we can't do it that way. We could do it this way though, because luckily Minecraft stuff is so horrible. Okay, And that should disable as soon as we click it. It isn't resetting the last button, so I don't want to reload the whole GUI, but might be the easiest way to do this. Load profile, and then we go. Actually, there's no way to call back on this, so we're going to have to do every time we click something. I wouldn't say necessarily reload the GUI, but we might want to go ahead and loop over everything and check to see if we need to be enabled. Yeah, actually, what we'll do is we'll just reload the GUI. So reload entries. That's got to be the easiest way to handle this. Yeah, there we go. So we get our up and downs. We give our button presses. And it maintains the index of the press, so that's good. Cool. Now we got to figure out why our buttons, our up and down arrow buttons, are not showing up. That's probably a subcomponent issue of the draw set. So, it's got to be, it's got to be in the container. We have a selected entry thing here, and I guess we're not using that. So we do super.render, which renders our background. Then we render this. I know what it is. It's the it's got to be the GUI scroll, not doing subcomponent renders. So we want to go find GUI scroll bar. Yeah. Super.doRender. MC mouse Y. Yeah. That's problematic. We need to rebind our textures. No, wait, this isn't right. Something's wrong with this. We add it to the subcomponent list. And then do render. It is a super.doRender problem. But not the way we're looking at it as. So what we're gonna do, I got an idea. So protected void draw background. And we'll set our draw background into here. And we're going to do render and we're going to do draw background. So right before here, we'll call draw background MC mouse X mouse Y. And then we're going to change out our background call. So we're going to do this real quick. No, not here, actually, the wrong area. With the scroll bar, and I want to do this. Because our scroll bars are technically part of the background, and that'll work. Now we need to make sure we are returning the correct GUI, which we are. So that way, when we call draw background, we've already set our GUI texture. Probably could do draw a foreground layer too on top of this, but not too important right now. So we'll launch this here and we'll see if that works. And then as soon as we get this done, we need to then implement this for the group tab. The group tab will be a custom version of this array because we will not be rendering. Yeah, we won't be rendering buttons. We'll be rendering text, and we'll be rendering 9-pixel buttons. And that needs to be in its own container. So we'll make a container. That container will contain all its buttons, and then it will provide callbacks, and that way we can just render that as a component, and then move it around the screen. Okay. I'm gonna guess everybody's gonna be playing Factorio today because they just added speakers, I believe, is what they did. And people have been making little song programs, which I saw that coming. I knew they were gonna add audio eventually. I know they're gonna be adding a lot more down the road. It's predictable. You got programmable logic like Redstone in your game, you're gonna end up adding a whole bunch of gizmos to play with. I hope they add programmable gates and stuff too. Like I'm not talking about gates as in like logic gates. I'm talking about like actual opening doors. The reason for this is I kind of want to make biter kill pens where I can raise biters, bait them in, and then kill them into side areas. I know it sounds negative and like all hostile, but the current way to harvest biters is to set up conveyor belts and stuff, and they like to kill the conveyor belts. The solution to this would be to draw them into a kill pen where you're only killing a couple at a time. That way you only have to have like 4 or 5 conveyor belts, and you do this by opening and shutting doors. Because the Pathfinder will try to go through that door, and if you do stuff with, I don't know, there's some ways to handle it. I kind of want to play Factorio some more now that I'm thinking about it. It is a fun game. We have a world we've been playing around on. I might stream that later today or record it. Probably stream. Give my internet a good test. That's no promise, by the way, that I'm actually going to stream, because who knows what we're going to do. I'm waiting for my buddy Grogger to get on right now, which I told him I'd be on in the morning, and because he was complaining yesterday, he's like, "Hey, you're not on enough." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've been doing things." There we go. So our render buttons are working perfectly fine. This is pretty cool when you think about it, that we're doing subcomponents here. This is something that Minecraft doesn't have by default, even though it should. And we're getting our nice scroll capacity here, and we can get our button clicks. And if we reload, it'll reload the thing, and it's supposed to disable the buttons, but we'll work on that later. We get our thing here, and now we need to take this, which we just made, and we need to bring it over here, and we need to do stuff with it. Yeah. I also need to put a border edge around here so you can tell that's a component by itself. And then I'm going to expand the number of profiles we can do. I think I'm going to add 2 more to the list, so I'm going to go ahead and do that real quick. And go to the access system over here, come up here, and we'll say we can do 12 now. And our height is auto gauged for us. So all you have to do is have to set the width. And I close this. I should just reload. Let me open that. Why is it not changing height? Should have changed the profile rows. It's probably being weird. I'll probably have to reload to get that change to pull in. But it should add 2 more rows down here whenever it reloads. And we'll probably drag it up and add 1 more down the bottom here too, because we only need a couple buttons up here. I need a new profile button, and I might add a button to switch between global profiles and permission system for commands, because we're going to use the same GUI for the command structure. So you can open up this system and you can start editing all your command permission nodes. You can start making all your user groups for your commands. And we're talking commands, we're talking server commands like hello or chat or teleport, admin, stuff like that. And we can handle that with the same GUI, because I mean there's no difference. You would open this up and this would be your, say, World 1 profile. Or you would have a global profile, then you'd have World 1, World 2, World 3, and you'd go through them, and you'd be able to go through and go, okay, here's our admin group, we would add some nodes to that, we mess around and everything like that. And having a graphical user interface for that would be so nice, because memorizing all those retarded commands to do all your groups and stuff is just stupid. There's not a single admin I've ever found who says a GUI would be slower, would be worse, would be harder to understand than a command. Commands, you have to memorize the command structures, and there are people that memorize them, and there are people that hold strong to commands because they're the same people that hold strong to command line usage. The thing is, a GUI is more efficient than a command line. It always has been. The reason why people say command lines are better is because those people have mastered the command line so strong that they can do something quicker than a GUI simply because they only have to type it in. Where when you get to a GUI, I can use a mouse, I can use a touchpad. It's very easy that way. Of course, I'm still going to implement command line driven stuff too, because when it comes to usability, command lines are amazing. If you have somebody who's blind, they can use a command line. If you have somebody who is vision impaired, they can use a command line. If you have somebody who's disabled where they don't have like hands or fingers or something, then you could create some kind of joystick system on their, say, chair or something, where they can click buttons with their nub, and each of those buttons could be a command. And this doesn't all relate to Minecraft, because the likelihood of those type of people playing Minecraft is low, but you still want to think about that kind of gameplay when you're designing a product, because people get impaired. Like as I said, I know I'm partially colorblind in one eye now. I didn't realize how big of an issue that was until I actually started having that problem, and I started noticing I actually have difficulties playing some games. Doom, for example, some of the levels on Doom, because of how red they are, I struggle to play them without closing my left eye, and then I can play the game just fine. Oh, we broke everything. That's hilarious. The irony is, look at that. Some of these actually match up pretty good. I'm laughing at this, but that's actually why is it working up here? Because these are the same buttons right there. That's the same button sheet. Oh no, wait, these aren't the same button sheet. Wait, this shouldn't happen. These are two different button sheets. Oh, the image override might not be working. Shoot. There's an image override that runs inside button 2. Oh no, wait, we're just not using it right here. Here's the text override. Down here, we want to go if texture override does not equal null, return texture override. There we go. They're working now. Okay. What else are we gonna do? So we got this working, and now we just got to make our version for the groups. So this would just be a callback thing, pretty much, because we're already creating our new entries in our callback up here. So we just got to make the container. I'm trying to think of how to do this precisely. So we already have a container object. So what we reality just need to do is make some kind of component for a string render, and then put our buttons on there. We do need to update position data. That is actually a pretty big thing. Maybe not, because I don't think that GUI really changes that much. I don't have to worry about it too much. But we do need to make a new one of these. So I got to go find where my access system is right now. Right here it is. And we're going to make a new package for this. We're going to call it components. And then, oh wow, there's actually a problem there. Fuck, we'll just do this. Public, current profile index. We'll just make all of these public. How will we make that public? And then make that public. There we go. Cool. So we want to make another one of these, and we want to make it group array callback. And we don't have an on pressed for this, but we will eventually. And then these are going to be pretty much true by default. There's going to be some kind of handling for this. Where's this called from? Oh, display string. We're not really going to need this, so that's not going to be used at all. So what we're going to do is we need, so this would be a component container, a GUI component container, container equals new GUI component container. We're going to put it at the X, the Y, and it would be plus index times spacing. And we need an ID for this. This would be index, I believe. Yeah, that's what we're doing out here. Actually, I'm just going to copy this because we need the same button IDs here. Do not override here. You know what I'm going to do actually real quick? I'm editing the wrong object. I just realized this. But it does bring something clear. I need to really quickly, when we go to create a new entry, I need to append that ID system to it. Because we're doing the ID system down here, the callback doesn't need to worry about that. What did I get which one of my tweets get liked? Oh, okay. Okay, this is not an override, so we started editing something that we weren't actually supposed to be editing. I don't know, we'll do this real quick. I'm going to copy the whole thing, and then we'll Control Z all the way our edits away. Then we're going to start making our stuff here. This is actually going to be a little tricky to do because we got to handle an on-press system. And we kind of need a custom container for this. So what I'm going to do is make one for this. It'll be group entry. And this will extend GUI component container. And then we want basically this. And then we'll create our thing here. That way, the only thing we have to do here is return new group entry index x. Well, we just copy this whole stupid thing. That way, it creates itself here. We won't have to deal with any of our button press logic here. Groups will pretty much, there'll be some system. So we'll go like to do check if user can edit group. This will just prevent it from opening up. The server will actually control the can edits feature, because what you're going to do is you're going to click the group button, and the server will then have to send the group to you. So if the server goes, hey, you're not allowed to edit this, it won't even send the data to you. Just go error, no access. That way you can't cheat client side and figure out how to change this, because anybody with a byte editor could just mess with this stuff. For entry name, we're just going to return a debug variable, which will just be this. That way, if we turn on some kind of display header real quick just to see what's going on, it'll give us an ID so we know what's going on here. And get size would be, if GUI.current profile doesn't equal null, then it'll be current profile.getGroups. Current profile.getGroups.size. There we go. And we want to have some kind of callbacks thing. Is there a way to get a group specifically? Yeah, we can get a group by name. So we're going to have to add the group ID here. That way it functions better. So we'll do that at the end here. We'll go we can't do that actually. Okay, where's this called at? Because this is, we're going to do something here real quick. So instead of doing this whole crappy piece of whatever, we're going to do callback.update entry. Then we'll go index, and then we're going to pass in the button entry.I. Okay. So create method. And then what this will do is it'll be button entry dot display name or display string equals get entry and index. That'll keep our current system running, and then we can, with this new system, we can update our entries. Okay, here's our group entry. So we want to do a string group ID here. This will be a public variable, so we will set it to encapsulated later. But we want to come here and put this down here. So we're going to keep the display string thing real quick. But what we actually want to do is we want to go, okay, if button entry is an instance of group entry, we're just going to do this for if somebody decides to put junk into our arrays for whatever reason. Like say somebody decides to piggyback our array thing to put objects in here that are not part of our normal callback system for whatever reason. I can see it happening just because I know modders like to mod each other's stuff. So we want to make sure we're doing our thing here. So group ID will equal whatever we're going to do. And also we want to make sure we actually want to do it this way. So this would be get groups dot get index, and then if it's not, we're going to set it to empty. Or no, we just flat out set it to null. Is it just a name system? What is it? How are we doing the IDs here? Yeah, these are. This means your names have to be unique. So your display strings are your names, and they have to be unique. I might fix that later. I might do an ID system just for these. That way you can change the name however you want. It won't break the hierarchy. I'll definitely fix that later. What is our current width on our components? Let's close a couple of these because I don't need all these open. So when we go to create our groups, we do the index, and our string is 130, which is going to be our starting position for this, by the way, when we go to do it. 130 and then 50 down. Let's actually go ahead and initialize this while we're at it. So it'd be public GUI array, group array, and then we'll come down here and we'll make a group array. So group array equals new GUI array, new group array callback this, and then what was it, 130, and then it was 50, and then our button ID is 5, and then group rows is how many entries you want to show at a time. And then we get rid of our group scroll bar, which we're going to murder off here in a bit. So that gets rid of our group scroll bar, which we just have to go delete a couple lines here. Group buttons, which we got to delete a lot of junk for this. I'm actually just going to copy this real quick, and I'm going to go through that in the group array system, or that group entry we just made, because that's literally what we're about to copy. We're about to copy that format we just made. So we're going to want to have some kind of array in here. We don't need the whole system, so I don't, for example, well, no, I need that. We'll hit it in a second. But we want to empty this out, and we want to go group array.reload entries. And that keeps our current system in check, and then, which we don't actually need that. Yeah, we actually don't need to do anything with these. So this would be a group array, and this would be profile array. I'm just going to leave them down there just so we know they're there. But the fact is we have no callbacks. All the callbacks are handled by this system. So we don't have to do anything with that. So now we got to hit this up. So this will be buttons pretty much. So private. So I'm going to do a GUI component real quick here, and this will be string display, and we'll create that in a bit. But we're going to need an array of GUI image buttons. And we're just going to, we'll just call these group buttons so I don't have to recycle the whole thing. So set our visibility false. Then we need to recreate our system here. So this will be GUI image buttons. And then we just kind of have to, okay, we don't need this whole thing. We definitely don't need the XY thing. Kind of just scrapping code at this point. We don't need this. This can be turned into an else statement. And then we just need to get rid of this. And then we need to just replace this with that. Get rid of that. We're missing a bracket there. We have no initialized read component system, so we don't need to check if stuff is here. We just need to check to see if it exists. We don't need the visibility system. So we're going to do this real quick. Because it's going to be, the whole component will turn its visibility on and off, so we don't have to worry about that. So these will always be visible. And we can merge these in with each other to kind of help with readability. Amazing how much this code goes down. That's the reason why I wanted to make this whole system is when you start building prefabs out like this, the code becomes compressed. It becomes smaller. It becomes easier to read, easier to maintain. And people are like, oh, but it runs slower. Well, it may run a little bit slower, but the amount of loss you're getting from that couple nanoseconds, so we're talking nanoseconds, we're talking about the time it takes you to blink. Actually, it's even less than that. You gain such a huge amount of reusability, huge amount of functionality, huge amounts of readability, huge amounts of maintainability. Maintainability is the most important thing. It's the reason why it's taken me so long to update to certain things. Anyways, this is button 0, this is button 1, this is button 2. This will be X pause, and this will be Y pause. By the sounds of it, I think my TV just turned on out there, which means it finally activated, which makes me happy. We don't need to worry about white space. That's handled for us. We do actually need to change this X position here. So what I'm actually going to do is just make an X variable, and we're going to start at X pause real quick. And we're going to just pop in X. And then plus width minus 9 times 3. So what we'll do is we'll make this suck towards the edge, so you can set your width of this component here, and it'll work. And then we just need to do our button actions right now, and our button actions are whatever we're going to use those buttons for. So it was like what, user group something. We still haven't done anything, so right now we're just going to make sure this loads. So this will be reload group list, and then we need to do update positions is our next thing. So we go quickly here. Super update positions, and for that we want to basically do this, and then we want to just go group buttons dot 0 dot x pause equals x. So we just want to replicate this real quick, and what we actually could do is ninja this by going update positions. And we could just set these all to X. Yeah, we're just going to do that because that'll get us the best results. So we don't have to write 2 sets of code to do the same thing. We write 1 set of code and we're done. Okay. And then we just need to set Y position too. So we just want to grab this, come down here, and be Y position. Oh no, we want that to be safe. Even with an energy drink in my system, I am still not exactly fully functional when it comes to remembering what I'm doing. Hopefully here in an hour that changes so I can be a lot more focused here. Because that's the whole point of grabbing these energy drinks. You pay like $1 for them to get the performance boost. Although the reality of it is you pay $1 to become addicted to these things. If you can, avoid energy drinks. They are addictive. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. And this is actually a final number, so we can do that because that'll never change. We need to make a string display system. So the string display is just going to literally be a text render. So we're going to come down to, actually let's test to see if this works first. And then we'll come back. I don't think I need this component. This looks good. I need to get rid of this whole piece. And I think it's all I need to do. I don't think it's used. That looks good. So we, like 130, what was the width though? I want to say we're going to set our width to 200 for these ones because we got a lot of space to work with. Okay, and debug. Oh, no, wait, we forgot to do, well, actually we can do that real quick. You don't need a restart for that one. I do need to do this. And next time I restart, hopefully I remember to actually fix this button list thing so we can actually call add directly on our stuff. Here we go, chug my whole monster. Another thing, if you ever do energy drinks, don't chug them like I just did. That's actually a bad idea. You want to drink them slowly because then it's introduced into your body at a slower rate, and then your metabolism is breaking the energy drink down over a period of time. So you're not getting a huge burst followed by a really nasty crash. You'll get a kind of a rev up in energy and then a rev down in energy, because if you want to avoid the hard crashes. That's the only problem with energy drinks is you do get hard crashes. It's very few energy drink types that avoid the crash, and those are usually ones that add in things that break down slowly in your metabolism. That's the reason why they always recommend trying to eat certain types of foods. There are certain types of foods that break down really slow in your system and provide a constant energy. Think of it like burning a piece of wood in a fire. It takes a while for that to burn up, but if you throw gasoline, instantaneous spike of fire. You get really, really warm, but then you're going to be cold here in a few seconds. That's the same idea behind an energy drink, is you're throwing gasoline onto a fire. When you drink it slowly, it's the same idea of throwing little pops of gasoline into the fire, which causes it to keep spiking up. Power plants do this with how their systems work. They introduce a small amount of fuel into the system and keep it burning. Even though if they dumped it all into once, they get a huge spike of fireball, but then their system wouldn't run very long. The human body is no different. We operate really closely to a lot of different things. It's not a perfect analogy, but it does work. And soda is pretty much the same thing, although you're getting the energy spikes off of the sugar, and sugar burns up quickly in your body. Your body tries to immediately use complex sugars. Unlike natural sugars. Natural sugars get used differently. I don't remember exactly how it works. It's been explained to me a few times. I used to study biology for a while. Broke all of the things? How do we break all the things? I don't understand what we did wrong. We didn't really change anything. We changed it to update entity, which update entry just changes the display string. That's the only thing we changed. Yet our whole GUI is thrown off. It's acting like the width isn't being reset. So profile weight set width. Ah, that's why. We're still having an array problem here, where the buttons aren't syncing to the top. Same thing with the group thing. The groups are not showing their buttons, so we'll have to figure out what precisely we screwballed. I'm gonna say it's the callback system, and I may have accidentally. Yeah, right. It's got to be this problem here. So we're gonna have to restart Minecraft because I'm gonna have to fix this by changing how the new entry is called. Okay, so I need to pass an I, and then what we're gonna do here is we're gonna go int button ID. This will be button ID. This will be index. And then we need to go over to this thing here, and we'll have to fix this one. So this will be int button ID, and then we change it here. I'm tempted to kind of just start handling this spacing on my own, but I'm trying to let whatever's constructing this handle the spacing on its own way in case it wants to do like minor padding or something. You kind of want to give the callback as much control as possible because it's what's actually driving the logic behind your array renders. Because you don't want people messing with the array renders. You don't want to have to extend the array render thing to add customization. You want to have the callback do all that. You can see this in JavaFX. JavaFX has a system like this, except it's a you would have a table callback and then you would have an entry callback. So you would have the table would control the layout of your system, and then you would have an entry callback which would control the actual entries themselves. And with that, you can create a whole bunch of cool things. I can show this real quick. Hopefully my client doesn't care that I can show off his launcher. File, project, open recent. I haven't worked on this project in a while. Hopefully he fixed his performance problem with it, because last time he was talking to me, he was having an issue with this running. Why am I not getting? Something's wrong. I think my project workspace is broken for his project. Oh well, I'm not really working for him anymore, so it's not too big of a deal. As far as I'm concerned, I'm done with his contracts unless he asks me to do things. To be honest, I should be charging him for rental space on my server, but I haven't. We did do a deal like it was $10 every so many months or something. Okay, we don't want to run the creator, we want to run the FX app. His launcher is actually a multiple thing. It's got a bootstrapper, it's got a launcher, it's got a creator, and then I think there's another thing for it. It was also a launcher fancy, but I deleted the launcher fancy. Okay. Launcher, repo, Maven, for whatever. So yeah, you got the launcher here. So this is what I'm talking about right here. It's this system here. So this is an array here. It's the same thing we just made for Minecraft. So you can access your entries. Now how this works is there is an actual table element system that actually tracks what it goes in here. In this case, it's all the mod packs that this can install. These mod packs, of course, are controlled via a remote system. You can select them. You can scroll through them. I think up arrows work on them. And you select them, it updates this page over here. This is actually a completely separate listener event that runs this. But the actual rendering of each one of these is its own container. It's a thing we just did for our group list. We told what to render. For JavaFX, I go, okay, I want to have an icon here, which is in split, and then I want to have the text display. And when it goes to render the GUI, it does that. And cool thing is it even works with the search bar up here. So we go pixel, and it'll show my Pixelmon thing here. But yeah, I made that for a client, by the way. I'm happy with that. I didn't know any JavaFX before he asked me to do that, and I did that all. I learned everything on the job. Given what he hired me for originally was to do a swing GUI system, I made the swing GUI system for him. He's like, oh no, I want something completely different. Let's do JavaFX. So I then made him an entirely new system. Actually, I took pictures for this because I use these on my resume. Public pictures work. Bolivian systems. So we had version 1. Here's version 1. This is literally like one of the very early models I made him. That was crap. I then made, or that was version 0. Then I made version 1, which was this really vibrant blue thing. These are the colors he gave me, by the way. These are not the colors I picked. This was entirely him. I thought it looked good though, so I made this for him. The buttons definitely need to fix though. I think we fixed those at a different time. We had Discord buttons down here. You could do all this stuff, and then he's like, "Hey, you know what? Let's completely redo this. We want a darker theme." And then I made him the whole system here and different little parts of it. Like here's the optional feature. You can select what mods you want to have installed. It's a really nice system. I hope he gets his money worth because he paid me. I did a good job, and I want to make sure that he goes far with it. I actually still do work for him and occasionally. Let's see. Let's go to our system. Okay, so we fixed our entry list. So let's refresh this. There we go. We got our buttons on that side. They are. We completely forgot the fact that we had a scroll bar behind it, so we need to fix that. So that would be. I'm trying to think of how to do that. I feel like that's actually the erase problem. Not quite. It is part of the group entry. So we're going to do ×4 on this, and that should fix it. I have to reload the whole GUI to fix this. I don't know why the whole top of that's failing to render. Then again, we're going off page 2, which tells me there's something wrong with the render height. It's probably our group rows because the height is set by the group rows, and then we have a spacing thing. We didn't update the spacing. That's the issue. So there's a spacing that's set, but we can actually adjust the spacing here, and we want to go 10. So then we just need to reload this. Yeah, there we go. See how it changed size here? There we go. I still don't know why the scroll bar is failing to render though. That I know what's wrong. You see how the grays right there? It's rendering a back plane. We need to fix our group entry width, which is then fixed in our group area callback. Sorry about the sucking up snot thing, if you can hear that through the mic. My nose has been running ever since I ate this submarine sandwich. I went to Subway, got the Italian Hero. Not worth the $8 I spent on it, but it was still pretty good. I'm probably going to buy the normal Italians, which are $5. $5 foot long. Let's see. So we're creating our entry here. What we need to do is just set its width. Actually, we can set its width on here. So these are 120 wide, I want to say, and they're 10 pixels tall. We don't need the string display. I just realized this. We actually could just render the string right on this component. We'll do that here in a second. I actually know what, I'm going to do the string display anyways, just because I need the component for it, but we'll do that later. So reload this GUI. There we go. We can make that a lot larger. So we said what, 120 is what we're at? So it's 120 there. We can add, I want to say, almost another 80. So we'll set these to 200. Really cool that we're getting the system all put together though. Oh, we're so close. See the bars? You can see where the spacing is fucking up on these. I need to change the background render color. I'll add a hook for that here in a bit so we can actually modulate these like we do with the other GUI, but we need to take off 10 pixels. So this would be 190. Why such a huge jump? Oh yeah, I know why. Fix that. There we go. That looks so nice. We'll need to bring a little bit off the top, so we're not. Actually, no. We can hug the edge because we're gonna add a box render border behind this. And same over here. That way we get that. See that nice thick black edge on the edge of these buttons. We want to kind of get one that's around here, but might be like a dark gray. That way you can see the edge of these. And you know what I might also do? I might actually let you move these around so you can get this kind of desktop-esque like system. Think of the same way you can do these, where you can move these around. Imagine seeing that in Minecraft. That would be kind of cool. And it's not too hard to do. You just keep track of your position. You just move everything every time you do it. So yeah, we need a text render, and I need to change the background. So we're going to go ahead and close this, and we're going to go fetch the super container. And I'm looking for the do render real quick, or the render background, which is done in the component. Because we still render the background, so what we want to do is I'm going to do a protected collar get background collar, and we want to return null. Because what we want to do is we're going to go right before this, and we're going to go if get background color does not equal null. Then we want to grab this, and we want to get the color. So actually we're going to do this real quick. So color equals get background color. Then we're going to go color doesn't equal null. Then it'll be color.getRed divided by 255f, and then you repeat this for all of your colors, including your alpha. Although I don't think alpha applies. So you go get alpha. It might work. I don't think anything has it though. So this is RGB, so red, green, blue. Why? Oh, there's a derp. So that'll let us set the color. We got an override for it, so we're going to come up to here, and we'll do this way. So I need some way to determine what is odd and what is even to change the background color. For the moment, we're just going to return some kind of color. I'm just going to do new color real quick because I'm lazy. So new color, 180, 180. And then we need the render method. So it'll be the do render. Oh shoot, why did it do that? I hate sometimes when you're working with IntelliJ and you're like, hey, I'm gonna drag this, and some reason it's gonna drag the entire window for some reason. They've got some kind of logic in here, and it's not playing well, is a way to put it. It's not exactly breaking, but it's not playing well either. We want the do render, and we want to render a string real quick. We can just pop up to here, and we can borrow this code here. And what is the default string render color? We can figure it out real quick by doing this. Yes, find overrides. Thank you. Do this real quick. And I'm going to go all the way. Actually, we're already in the component system. That's not what I wanted to edit. But we're gonna add a variable for this. So public static final int default string color. That way I can just copy this real quick and then go over to my group entry and put this here. That way I don't have to keep looking for this, because I use this actually quite a bit, and I keep having to go find it and copy and paste it, and the more you can stick stuff in static variables, the better. Anyways, instead of doing this, we want to do the group ID, and I don't want to do the index, but we might come back and do the index in a bit. Yeah, we'll do that later. Right now we want to see if this all renders properly. And we'll be at video time. Yeah, we'll call this about end as soon as we get this the background color working. And then we'll work on it some more in the next video, and then hopefully we'll be able to get to some actual group editing dialogues and a few other things here in a bit. And we're kind of getting close. I only got 5 days left to update to 1.8. I'm not getting that deadline. There's no way. Unless I pull several all-nighters, which isn't going to happen. I like my sanity a little too much. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 5 days. So it's probably going to happen by the 6th, maybe. That's pushing it though, because I got to go back to class the 15th, which means my free time cuts down pretty bad. But I'll keep pushing for the system. We're getting close. We're getting there. I built the node system. That was a huge step forward, because the node system will eventually get into the tile entities that do not need access to any Minecraft functions, because they'll be all wrappered. So I need to make the world wrapper, player wrapper, and with the player wrapper will come an entity wrapper, and I should be done then. And that will get me ICBM maybe updated to 1.8. Armory mod's going to need a whole bunch of more code that we don't have at the moment, which is unfortunate, because I kind of want to get that one updated more than anything. That one's actually probably could just be flat updated instead of being this Minecraft less version. I'll figure it out though. I gotta do more planning. Anyways, this is almost up, done loading. I gotta do a lot of JUnit testing. That's the biggest problem with doing the update, is I need to go do JUnit testing. But if I do all the JUnit testing ahead of time, I'll have to update all the JUnit tests. Which last time I did that, I just flat out deleted them. I was like, you know what, I'm done. I don't want to touch these, because it was somewhere in 1.6 where I started using JUnit testing, all that stuff, and I actually had a decent amount of them. They weren't uploaded to the repositories because at the time I didn't think about it. I was like, I don't care. I made them. I was using them locally to test a lot of CalculaVia's code, because asking CalculaVia to do anything was hard. So I was like, I'm not going to ask him to add JUnit testing to his stuff. I'm not going to force that ideal. There we go. So we got that black render. That tells us our size isn't quite right. That's okay, because that's kind of what we wanted. The spacing's weird. Why do we have a gap between these? It's not from the components, because we can tell the components are rendering 10 pixels tall. But then we have like a 15 pixel tall separator. And we're setting our spacing to 10 here. So there's something wrong with one of our callbacks. So Y spacing would be set to here, which means it should be forced to 10. I'm going to do this real quick. The only reason I'm doing this is because I want to just do this and just get rid of that, because that is then updated down here again, and 2 spots doing 1 set of code. Trying to avoid that. So when we create our new entries, we're passing in the Y spacing, and then we're passing the index in. And then if we go to our GUI array callback, that's applying spacing, and then I don't need, yeah, we're getting our entity heights there. We go GUI components, we don't need that. Group entry, we want group array callback. We make our stuff here, we times by the spacing we're provided, which should be, it's got to be this here. Maybe? Hold on, let's go to the GUI array here. We don't update our sub buttons for some reason, even though they need to be updated too. So let's do that, I guess. So for GUI component button entries, we go component dot x position equals x position, and then component dot y position equals y position plus index basically. So we go int I equals 0. So go I plus plus times y spacing. And we're going to go update positions. We can get rid of that because it'll call update positions for us. Okay. So reload the GUI. Still got a spacing problem there, but we'll fix that in the next video, so I'll be back.